All right, so I was inspired by Pinterest, and I am an ingredient household, but I'm also a prepared ingredient household. A recipe called a Mediterranean chicken casserole, something like that. Called for everything bagels. I had everything bagels, and then like these cheesy bagels that I made and froze. I also had pre-shredded chicken, cooked and ready chicken. So I like most of the ingredients I already had ready, and it also does not call for feta, but feta is going to be delicious, so I'm going to add that. And then you like this to make its own kind of bruschetta with. I had grape tomatoes that needed to be used, pesto that I've had, and a red onion that needed to be used pretty bad too. So it's kind of one of those meals that I got inspired, and it just worked out perfectly for today. So I'm going to go ahead and get this all mixed up, and we'll see how it turns out. Okay, this looks a little crazy, but I also had homemade cream of chicken soup and homemade bone broth available. So all I had to do was add, well, I didn't have a whole brick of cream cheese. So for this casserole, it's just creamy, cheesy stuff, but it's like all from scratch. Oh, it's going to be so good. So I guess you just kind of melt this all down, whisk it up, and then you get your chicken in there, which I have over here. So I'm just going to, I have like an assembly line all set up so I can heat this through and just dump and go. Alright, there it is out of the oven. It looks and smells amazing. I cannot wait to dive into this. I'll let you know. Alright, the next project is we needed grape or cherry tomatoes for 2 different recipes this last week. So this was a better price to get the bigger container, even though we did not need that many. We only needed a few because only a couple of us like them. So what I'm going to do, instead of letting these go to waste, I am going to slice them all in half, put them in my dehydrator, and make homemade sun-dried tomatoes. We use those in recipes here and there. So it'd make the most sense to me to have an item that we will use in the future. And, I can make that, add a meal into the routine or whatever, so these don't get wasted. And I've done this before, and they're really tasty. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get all the rest of these sliced in half. I season them, and then I dehydrate them like overnight or, 16, 18 hours, whatever. And they're delicious. And then when they're done dehydrating, what you do is you put them in like a mason jar with some olive oil on them, and then they soften up in there. I don't know. It's delicious. So that's what we're doing now. All right, one of the best secrets to eating homemade and from scratch and all of the things is cook in bulk. We love rotisserie chickens from Sam's Club, and it's a 35-minute car ride. So we try to get a couple every time we go, and what I do is I pick off all the meat right away, portion it all out. I don't even weigh it. I just kind of guess. I know about this much is how much my family will eat with a meal or, something like that. Or this is a good amount portioned out for us. So these will all go in the freezer, although I ran out of my vacuum seal bags. So this one is fine. We eat it so quick. It doesn't really matter. But this is how we do it. On a day where I'm not cooking like a big fancy meal or a treat, that's when I take the time to prep all of the ingredients or items like that I need on hand. And I also cooked up 5 pounds of beef that I'm going to bag up. And unfortunately, all of those have to go in these. They are gallon or freezer bags, but I don't love it this way. But like I said, we're going to eat through them quickly. But it literally is a lifesaver when you're trying to make everything at home all the time and skip the junk food. Having protein ready is key. All right, over here to my other work spot, I have my brand new Nesco going. Oh, that's hotter than hell. I got it like boiling hot, crazy hot, just to get it started. And then I'm going to turn it on to like real low and let it go overnight. But that's where the 2 carcasses are, and veggie scraps and salt, apple cider vinegar, all that stuff to make a delicious broth, bone broth. All right, here is 5 pounds of ground beef, some diced onion, and some diced green pepper, because I had random bits in the freezer. And then pulverized that you don't see is I dehydrate veggies and I turn them to powder and make it a seasoning. So there's actually a ton of veggies hidden in here, but they're just nice and small so nobody can pick them out or even know that they're necessarily in there. But I gotta let this cool. I'm gonna move around a little bit here and there, let it cool, and then get that bagged up as well. All right, I'm all out of taco seasoning, so I have my taco seasoning recipe here. We're gonna go ahead and mix it all up. I like to make a big batch. I think I did this recipe times 10. I store it in a mason jar, and then we just use it as we need it. I have a few like Mexican bowl inspired ingredients still in the fridge from last night's dinner, but out of meat. So I pulled out a frozen pack of ground beef with all the grease and stuff in there, and then I'm gonna warm it up and turn it into taco meat. So that's what I'm doing first, but being an ingredients household, I have to make the taco seasoning first. But by making it a big bulk batch, I don't have to do this before, you know, I only have to do this often. But let's get this put together. All right, the next thing I'm going to do is I have an excess of bone broth. And instead of freezing the bones of the carcasses, I decided to just go ahead and turn it into bone broth, like, because that's what I was going to do. So I did that. But I had some in the freezer, so now I have like a ton. So what I'm going to do is I got a pot about to boil here. I am going to cook up 2 bags of pasta. And then if anybody wants to eat some now, they can. But really the plan is to just put it in the freezer. Let it cool down, obviously. And then put it in the freezer so we can have pre-cooked pasta available to toss into any easy recipes or quick meals. The whole idea is to turn ingredients or scraps, whatever, into edible food that's easy to grab and use. So that's the project today. We got the taco seasoning made. We're going to have some cooked pasta. There's a few other random things that I need to get done. Oh, I'm out of my cleaning spray that I make, so I got to go ahead and make some more of that. There's just a lot of those little tedious things that I need to do today. But that's perfect. That's what today's going to be for. It's the crazy polar vortex cold time here in Wisconsin. So stay inside, stay warm, and just hang out in the kitchen with me. All right, now what I'm working on, I got all my pasta strained out, and then I was realizing, going through my refrigerator, oh, sorry, I'm distracted, I'm working. So I'm making homemade cheese sauce too. I'm gonna make homemade mac and cheese with some of that pasta because I got a few videos back, I got a really good deal on a few different kinds of cheeses at our discount store. I got 10 pounds of Parmesan, I got 7 pounds of pepper jack, and 7 pounds of white American. It's actually this cheese that they sell at Subway on your Subway. So I got a ton of that, and I've been kind of working through it, and I vacuum sealed some and ate some fresh. So I figured with what was open and fresh, or open and being eaten in the fridge, struggle. Okay, I would make a cheese sauce. It's not gonna be like the best cheese sauce I've ever made because it's white American and like a inch thick of pepper jack, just a little bit of that. But I did use homemade bone broth too. That's actually really good, but it's almost too cheesy. Almost too cheesy. I might have to thin it out a little. It's very American cheese tasting, but it'll make really good mac and cheese. And then I'm using up opened remnants of things also. So another win. All right, a white cheesy sauce. Plenty of seasonings added. It's good, but it tastes almost too much like American, so I gotta thin it out a little. It's just a little bit too processed tasting for me. Alright, since I used up all of the cheese in the fridge today, I got out the provolone. We also got deals on that as well. So all 3 of these are the Subway cheeses that they offer. Okay, here's the pepper jack I froze. This is kind of a lot of that. And then big old pack of American cheese. So I'm going to go, so now I know we're starting all fresh this week with fresh open cheese. And it just kind of keeps things moving and uses up the little odds and ends and things, you know. So I ended up using about half the pasta that I boiled up to make mac and cheese. So there's the other half cooling down. Alright, I whipped up a homemade brownie recipe. And I stretched out some of the homemade caramel I have left from the other day. I'm going to try to bake it in here. I think it's going to be absolutely amazing. Alright, here they are in the oven. They are setting up pretty nice. There's this caramel bubble. That's kind of fun. I'm going to let this definitely cool down before I try to cut into it. But looks and smells amazing in here.